Hey everybody, welcome to FabFit Friday. This is the grand prize winner announcement edition. Plus, I'm going to be working on a project that I've had in my or on my list for quite a while. I've been thinking about it and, you know, working on trying to figure out how to make best use of my heirloom, well, an heirloom money bag from a mom who wants me to make a garter belt for her daughter's wedding. So that's what we'll be working on in a few minutes. Let me just stop and say hello to Jason. Hi, Jason. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome. I'm super excited because today I'm going to be announcing the winner, and I'll just before I do that, though, I'm going to wait a little bit for people to come if they're planning on coming. So in the spirit of organization, I'm going to tell you the things that I'm going to be using in the tutorial on how to make the garter belt so we're nice and organized. And I just want to give a shout out to Jason again, because he was the one that pointed out to me that I should tell everybody what they'll need to do the tutorial, which makes so much sense, and super excited. All right, so let me just stop and say hi, Julie. Welcome. Oh, you have a little blue sky today. I went hiking this morning in the little showers, and by the time I got home, the sun was up in the sky, so I was like super excited. Hi, Sally. Welcome. Hi, Suzanne. Welcome. Hi, Barbara. Welcome. All right, so before I announce the grand prize winner, I'm going to tell you what you would need to make an heirloom garter belt. So I'm going to be working with a money bag from, this is the money bag from the mom whose daughter is now getting married, and I'm going to be showing you how to take this apart and use it to make a garter belt. So you're going to need supplies to make the garter belt. So I have this satin bag. I'm going to show you how to cut the satin apart to make the ribbon we need to basically make the garter belt. And then you're going to need some lace. Now my challenge in making this garter belt, and the reason why I think I thought about it for such a long time, is there is lace on the bag itself. I think you can see it here, but it's not long enough to be the only lace on the garter belt, because we have to make it longer and then gather it up with elastic so it's comfortable on your leg. So that was my sticking point in working on this sooner. So I'm going to show you how to incorporate the original lace, which this is a piece of the original lace, with this other lace that I picked out and got the okay from the mom. So you need lace. You also need a really sharp seam ripper, and I have my really sharp seam ripper right here. I was using it earlier, and all right, so this isn't going exactly as planned because now I'm looking for it. Where did it go? Oh, it's underneath my sewing machine. You're going to need a seam ripper. You're going to need a rotary cutter, scissors, iron, and maybe some Wonder Tape. So that's what you're going to need, plus white thread and a size 11 needle. And I'm using a thread that's a very fine 60 weight because we're working on this delicate lace and fabric. Okay, so let me just stop and say hello to who else has joined us. We have Andrea, Diane, welcome, welcome, Mary, Francine, and Judy, welcome. Welcome, everybody. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to announce the grand prize winner. I don't see her here, but that's okay. You don't have to be here to win. The winner was one of the Instagram posts, and it is Jacqueline from the Sewing Parlor. Now, I'm really excited. I would be excited for anybody who won, but let me just read to you what her comment was underneath the post. She wrote, "I haven't made jeans since college, and I have multiple patterns and fabric to sew up. So this new sewing machine would definitely help with all the wonderful features my current machine does not have. So I just want to say that I'm so happy that the winner, you know, is getting an upgraded machine from the one she has. I'm like super excited for her, and I will reach out to her after I get off with you guys today to let her know that she won, unless she happens to pop in at some point before I get off. I will, you know, tell her if she pops in. But I think that's really kind of cool. So I just want to thank everybody who has participated and everybody who has gotten me to this point, because I wouldn't be able to have a 25,000 subscriber celebration if I didn't have all of you guys following along with me in sewing and fitting and embroidery. So I just want to tell you that I will be, I have so many exciting things planned for the rest of this year and going forward. So I'm super appreciative and thankful for each and every one of you who, you know, sews along with me and is helping me grow my channel. So thank you so much for participating with me. So without further ado, I am going to now switch views here so I can show you what we're working on. And you can see here, this is the money bag. I have my additional lace here. I'm going to put this aside for now. So my first thing was I took the drawstrings off. Okay, so I did that. And then I had to take apart the bag a little bit. So this is what the key features of this is. I'm going to use the fabric to create the sort of a, I'm going to create my own ribbon essentially. We need to make a casing for the elastic to go in to gather around the leg. So I'm going to use this as the fabric to make the ribbon for the casing. And then see this really pretty detail here? This little detail was glued on, so I'm going to gently take this off and I'm going to add it to the garter once it's sewn. So see how pretty that is? It's like a little heart with a ribbon. So I'm going to use that little feature, and then I'm going to incorporate the lace into the lace that I'm adding for the garter. So let me just stop here. Pat says, so great to repurpose. I have used my grandmother's mother of pearl buttons for christening gowns. Oh, that is so precious, Pat. And Judy says, you're so glad to be here. Well, I'm so glad that you're here too. We have a bunch of Judys. We have a couple Judys in the house today. So I want to incorporate it, even though it's short. I mean, it's only, let's see, I'm going to measure here. It's only 11 inches. So 2 of them would be, you know, would be 22 inches, and that's really like not even a drop in the bucket for the amount of lace we're going to need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center it so when we gather it up, it'll be in the front and the back of the leg. It'll be 2-tiered. Julie says, I was able to incorporate a 100-year-old silk ribbon from my great-grandmother's wedding day into my wedding attire. Love being able to carry the generations forward. I know this is such a sweet thing, and I'll tell you, the other part of my agita with working on this was I didn't want to cut it. I was afraid I would mess it up. You know, I didn't want to make a mistake and screw it up. So I've really been thinking about this for a long time, on and off, to come up with a plan. So I think I have a good plan now, so let me show you what I think I'm going to do here. So I've got this lace. I'm just going to put it aside so I don't lose it. This is the other lace. I'm going to just put that aside. Now, I've shown you in the past how to easily use your seam ripper. So you can see from this side, I already took the lace off this side of the bag. So to get the lace off of this side, what I'm going to do is I'm just sort of digging in with the sharp part of my seam ripper to get it started. Okay, so then once the seam gets started, literally what I'm going to do, oh, let me just show you here on the side. I'm going to take the ball of my seam ripper, let me make it big so you can see. I'm going to insert it on the side here, and then I'm just going to slide it up down, and you'll see how fast we can take apart this side seam. So see, it's really not painstaking if you practice with your seam ripper, it's pretty easy to take apart edges without damaging the fabric. Okay, so I've gotten that taken apart enough now that I can then, I'm going to do the same thing to get the lace off. Luckily, the lace was sewn on at the same time as the casing for the bag was stitched. So all I have to do is stick my ball of my seam ripper under there and slide it along. And it will come apart. I'm trying to do it in a way where you can see what I'm doing here. It's kind of awkward. But essentially, if I just slide the ball along, I can get it. So see, I'm not using the pointy side, I'm using the ball side, and that the ball is protecting the fabric from getting punctured or torn. See, and as I take it apart, the lace just comes off, see? Alright, so I'm almost done taking this apart here. I mean, I could have had this all done before I came on, but I wanted to just show you how easy it is if you use your seam ripper the right way, instead of trying to pick each stitch. Okay. Alright, so just get this little bit left here. Alright, so now I've got my lace loose. Okay, so here's my lace. I'm going to put that over there. Okay, so now I'm going to just finish taking apart the seam here too. Just take this apart here. See, it's really easy if you use your seam ripper right. So now I have this big piece of satin, and I think I don't need to worry about making my ribbon stretchy, so I'm not going to cut it on the bias. I think I'm going to just use this edge right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to iron it. And also there is some spots or some damage in this fabric, so I do want to work around that. So that's why I'm thinking I'm going to use the edge right here. So let me get my pressing surface. Okay, so you can clearly see, before I press this, I just want to show you, this is clearly glued on because it's not, there's no stitching there. So I'm just going to use my seam ripper to gently pry it, I think. If I make a hole in the fabric here, I really don't care. Oh, it's going to come off. Okay. Actually. Oh, all right, it came off perfectly. So this little detail is going to get used on the actual garter. So I'm going to put that aside as well so I don't lose it. Okay, so now that I have my bag free of all the embellishment I want to save, I'm going to iron this edge, because I think the edge is going to be the best place to salvage the fabric to make the ribbon. Just see here. Alright, so let me just iron this. Alright, so I also think I'm going to take apart this top. Actually, I'm trying to think of the easiest way. I'm going to see if I can iron this flat. It's all gathered up from being gathered up, probably in my friend Sue's hope chest. Let me just see here. I just want to get it to lay flat because I'm going to cut a strip off of it here. So if I can get this part over here to lay flattish, what I'm going to do is all right, so I'm going to just cut this, let's see, with my ruler. You're going to need your rotary cutter and your ruler, which I mentioned. I'm going to cut, let's see here, let me just cut off, I'm going to be a little generous right now. I'm going to give myself 2 inches. Okay. All right, I'm going to put the rest of this away for here. All right, so now I'm going to take apart these 2 edges here. And this should come apart really easy too, because it's the stitching is pretty long. So you can see just sliding that ball across the stitching really just makes it come out very easily. All right, so I've got that taken out. Let me get this side. I think this is going to be long enough. I don't think I'm going to have to piece together anything. Okay, so let me see here. All right, so now let's press all this nice and flat. Okay, all right, so I'm going to give this a nice steam here. I'm using the spray feature so I can really wet it. I want to try to see if I can make it nice. I want to see if I can close all the needle holes in the satin up at the casing. And I think they will close pretty nicely here. Oh, maybe not. All right, so these are things you need to consider when you're working with an heirloom. Like if you can't get rid of the holes, like you can still see the holes here. Just show you, make it a little brighter so you can see. So you can see the holes are still there, so I don't think I want to use that part of the fabric because it's damaged. So let me just press the rest of it flat and then we'll see where we're at. This is actually double. Well, look, it's a double. That's interesting. Oh, so it's the lining and the bag. So let me separate the lining from the bag here. Obviously, this would be lined. All right, so let me get rid of the lining. We're going to be using the satin or the outside edge here. So let me get rid of the lining. All right, that should press a little bit better here. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we are going to cut this into, oops, let me make it a little less bright now. Okay, so we're going to cut this into a, I think finished, I want the ribbon to be 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to cut it 1.5 inches, and what we'll do is we'll fold the ends to the middle, like we're going to make a bias tape. So to start out, I'm just going to cut up, make one edge nice and straight here. I'm going to stand up so I can see what I'm doing. Let me see if I can fold it in half. I just want to see how straight that edge is. Yeah, it's pretty straight. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to cut this so it's straight. like this. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to cut it down to 1.5 inches. Let's see here. Okay, I'm almost done this part. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to fold this and press it in half, and then I'm going to press it together. Actually, hold on 1 second. I have not used a bias tape maker in a very long time, but I think I have one, and I'm totally going against my rule of being organized here. Yep, I don't know where it is. All right, so if you have a bias tape maker, you could insert it in here, and it will make your bias, make it for you. But since I don't have it, I'm just gonna press my ribbon in half like this, just gently. I'm not killing it. I'm just creating a center. I'm just creating a center line so I know where to press my ends in. All right, let's see here. But if, like I said, if you had a bias tape maker, you could use that, and it'll turn your edges under for you automatically. But we're going to go no tools to help us here. Okay, so now that I've got that middle mark, oh, Judy says she can never get those to go through the bias tape maker. I mean, they get you started, but sometimes they can get a little wonky. All right, I'm just going to press this flat now a little bit. I don't want to have a huge crease. I just want it to make a guide. Okay, so now I'm just going to press each edge in so that the edges meet in the middle. And I'm just going to work a little at a time to create my ribbon. Like this. See how that is going to look. All right, let me just, I think I'm making a mess out of this. Let me just, I think I creased it a little too hard. Let me just, all right, so this is exactly the reason why I was so hesitant to start this project. I didn't want to make it into a mess, and now I'm making it into a mess. All right, you know what? Instead of doing that, I'm going to change my mind because I don't want it to look messy. So what I'm going to do instead, we're going to go to Plan B. My button just popped off my iron. This is like... Okay. All right. All right. I was doing some serious ironing and I popped the button off my steam. All right. Here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. So every fabric reacts differently to how you're pressing it. And this fabric, I think if I make a crease in it, I'd have to like kill it to make the crease go away. So what I'm going to do, and so see what happened is after I made that crease, the crease doesn't want to go away. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go for a plan B. I'm going to get another piece of this fag, and I think I still have enough that I can do it without it getting into the damage section. So let me just cut off a new 1.5 inches here, and then I'm going to sew it into a tube and turn it because I don't want to make a crease. All right, so let's try this. So 1.5 inches. Okay, let me just unsew here. And then I'm gonna, let's do it into a, we're gonna make a tube instead, but remember I also have my lining, so let me get rid of the lining. Okay. All right, so we're going to plan B. I'm not going to press anything. I'm just going to bring my machine over. Hey Carol, welcome. We're making an heirloom garter belt today. All right, so I'm going to put right sides together. And I'm just going to sew using a little 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fabric underneath my presser foot like this. And I'm going to move my needle all the way over to the side. And I'm going to make my stitch length maybe 2.5. And I'm just going to stitch right down the edge of this. Sewing at about 1/4 inch. So this will create a better this will be better. Okay. All right, so just going to back up here. I went a little haywire. I'm using the little walking foot on the side of my machine to keep myself even. Okay. All right, so this is going to make a really nice tube, and we don't have to fuss with turning the edges under, but now we have to turn it. So I'm going to go get my tube turner. And if you guys don't have these, I don't even know if these are like super popular anymore, but these tube turners are really cool because if you find, they come in a set. So like if you put the hold on 1 second, I just have to find the end. Okay, so these come in sets of different widths. go. Oh, oh, oh God, I cannot pronounce your name, but thank you for loving my videos. Ghislaine? Ghislaine? Well, thank you. Sorry, I thought I was going to be super organized today. Okay, so see how this tube turner goes right into the tube? And the trick with this is you want to find a tube turner that will be very close to, you know, the width of your tube. And this one might be a little bit, this one's so perfect, it's a little bit snug. So I'm just gonna, I think if I went down a size though, it would be too, oh my gosh. Oh my God, I thought that would be perfect. I don't think I have a narrower one. Let's see if I can do it with this narrower short one, let's say. So this is a short one, but let's see if I can get it all on there. They come in different sizes, different widths. Oh, this will work better. I think I should be able to get it all on there. Ooh, it's gonna be close. This is one of those little half-size ones for smaller things. Notice how this is fraying. Look at that. Woo. We'll trim that up nice and neat before I turn it, I think. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna see if I can fit this on here. All right, so I can't fit it all on, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to see if I can, nope. All right, I'm gonna have to fit it on. This is turning into a flaming disaster. Let me see. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut all this hairdo off. Okay. Then I think I'm going to get it on as far as I can. I was intending not to use the part that was sewn through on the ends anyway, so I think I'm just going to trim this off. Now I'm going to stick this in here, and I'm going to, you see how there's a little pigtail right there? I'm going to corkscrew that through the end of the tube by twisting the wire. Oops, hold on. And I don't think I need to be at the very end. All right, so you can see if I had the longer tube turner, this would be like super easy. But basically, I'm going to just get it in there. So see how it's, if you twist the thing, then the thing comes and comes. And I think I should be able to pull it out now. Okay, so here we go. All right, thank you, Jesus. All right. Okay. So we now have a turned tube. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to iron it flat, and hopefully we will have a lovely, hopefully we will end up with a lovely, you know, sort of like a ribbon to use. I'm trying to create the center of the garter. So I wanted it to be about 3/4 of an inch. I think once I iron this flat, it'll be very close. And I'm going to get my iron over here, and let's press this flat. All right, so I'm just going to press this flat. See, and then that will make a nice ribbon. All right, so let me just continue to press this flat. And I'm centering the seam on what will become the back side of the ribbon, or the casing. This is really the casing for the elastic. And we don't need it to be super wide. Okay. Yeah, this is coming out nice. This makes me happy. All right. Okay, I'm almost to the end. Now, I'm not going to worry about the finished length of this strip, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate the lace and put it all together, and then we'll gather it up and decide, you know, how long it needs to be to fit a leg that is about a 21-inch, has a measurement of about 21 inches. I did think to ask that. All right, so I'm going to just finish this here. I'm going to use my little chopstick to try to coax out this end, or maybe my tweezers. Okay, so I'm just going to use my tweezers to pick it out here, the end of my tube. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so let me just finish ironing this flat. All right, so you can see now I have a nice ribbon to use for the casing, and it was made from the garment bag. So that part is all set. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you the lace. So we've got this piece. Let me make it a little darker here. Okay, let me move my thing out of the way. All right, so I've got my lace. I'm going to cut this piece in half because I think that will agree with the length of my ribbon or my casing. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to sew the lace onto okay, so I'm just going to lay this here, and then I'm going to lay this so we can see we have, oh, see, we have almost exact measurements, which is what I wanted, so that's good. So I've got my lace. I'm going to cut it in half. Cut it right here. Okay, and then I'm just going to even these ends over here. So this is a very soft lace that was created on English netting, so it's nice and soft. I'm going to, I was debating about putting it, you know, all underneath, but I think checking for the right and wrong side. I think this is the right side. And I'm going to, so this is the right side. I'm going to overlap them here, like this. And then this will go on like this. So then when it's gathered up, you'll have ribbon, you'll have lace on top and bottom. You can buy lace that's got the two edges, you know, that's already like this, but I went with this first. So I think what I'm going to do first is we're going to go back over here to the sewing machine. And I'm literally just going to butt these up next to each other. There is there's a little, what do I want to say, like a little edging to it, so that'll help me overlap it evenly all the way down. And I'm going to choose a regular zigzag, and I'm just going to zigzag these together. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to create a double-sided lace. Like this. Okay, so now I've got my double-sided lace. I'm not going to worry about sewing this other end on. And as a matter of fact, I think what I'll do is, let's just trim. I'm going to trim away the overlap on the underside, just to get rid of that. So I'm literally just going to trim the overlap away. Being careful not to cut the actual lace on that side. This is going to be hidden by the elastic casing, so it'll be okay. All right. Okay. All right, so now I need to decide how am I going to, okay, so maybe what I'll do is, what if I centered this lace? Maybe what we'll do, because these pieces are so small, maybe what I'll do is we'll just center it in the middle, so it'll be double in the middle, like that. Maybe we'll do that. So I'm going to find the middle, because I just want to incorporate this lace. So here's my middle. I'm just going to use a wonder clip to mark my middle. Then I can put this and what I'll do is I'll put it top and bottom like this. So then that will be I think that will be nice, because then with this over it, I think that'll be pretty. I think that's going to work out. So I'm going to do that. So the next step is I'm going to just and that's the only way I can think to incorporate this lace, so that's what I'm going to do. Just looking for my pins. I'm just going to pin it here in the center, and then I'm just going to zigzag that on too. All right, and now we're going to just sew this on. And again, I'm just going to zigzag through both the layers in one shot here. Okay. All right, so now the next step is we're going to take our ribbon that we created and I'm going to just pin it to the center of our ribbons. And then we're going to stitch it on in both places. Oh, hi Christine. Welcome. I'm doing a heirloom. I'm creating a garter belt from a mom's money bag from her wedding, for her daughter's garter belt for her wedding. So I'm incorporating the lace and the satin from the garment, from the bag, to create the ribbon to make the casing for the elastic. And I know you missed the announcement. Jacqueline from the sewing parlor is the grand prize winner. So I don't think she's here, but she was the winner, in case you're wondering that. And now we're just sewing this garter. And honestly, you know how you guys, I'm sure sometimes you take a class because you need time to make something. Well, I'm basically doing this project with you guys so I have time to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I literally, you know, I've had this on my list for quite a while here, so thank you guys for allowing me to share this project. It's such a random project from my normal things. I may have to zigzag the ends of these lace to the lace before I gather it up, because they're sticking out funny. We'll see. All right, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to just stitch this on now. Okay. All right, so let's just stitch this on. So here I need to be real careful because I need it to be right on the edge. So I'm not going to go my usual bat speed. I'm going to go, you know, really carefully. I'm just going to stitch right along the edge of both sides of this ribbon that I created. And this will show you I can sew slowly. So I'm just going to very carefully sew, really close to the edge. Because remember, I have to leave enough room in there to put the elastic. I made one of these for a friend a while back, and it was a lot easier just to use a ribbon for this step. But I really wanted to create or use the satin from her mom's money bag. coming to the end. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to back tack at the end. And then I'm just going to slide it down, and I'm going to stitch the other side. I think I'll turn it around so I'm on the same side of the fabulous. So now look what we have. We have this lovely thing. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to use a very narrow zigzag to zigzag these ends down so they're not flapping around. So I'm going to go to my zigzag, but I'm going to make my zigzag kind of narrow, like just 2.5, I think, just a little bit. And I'm just going to zigzag so it stays flat. See, and you really can't see the stitching, but I think it'll just lay nicer if it's attached there. Okay, and then let me do this side over here. Okay, so see, it's really not going to be noticeable. I think that'll be fine when it's gathered up. All right, so the next step is we need some elastic. And of course, I'm going to be using my cut through, sew through elastic because I can cut it to any width I want. And I only need a little piece here. This is where like the magic of gathering it up is going to come into play. I'm just going to, that was maybe a little bit too short. So let's make, I'm going to cut a piece that's, let's see, I'm wrapping it around my leg. So I'm going to cut it maybe this long. And then what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to cut it so it's a narrow 1/4 inch. And what I'm doing is I'm following the ridge on the elastic. Oops. And it cuts really easily into any length or any width you need for your project. That's why I love my cut through, sew through elastic. And the cool thing about this elastic is it does not fray. So I just cut this apart. All right, so there's my piece of elastic I'm going to use right here. Pat says, Pat says, I constantly show your problem-solving sort power. Well, that's because a lot of times, I don't know, I like to just, I don't want to say I mean, I plan it out, but if my initial plan doesn't work, then I go to plan B. Like, I don't stick with what I decided if it seems to be a bad idea. All right, this is a bodkin. So I'm going to slide my elastic into my bodkin like this, and then we are going to feed the elastic through the casing like this. So I'm just gonna keep feeding it through, and this will go really easily. If you have the right tool for this, this goes really quick, and since I actually have a bodkin, I can just very easily slide this through. Oops. I probably should have cut it longer than I needed, the elastic, because then I could spread it out a little bit more. I don't know, we'll see. The tube is kind of thick because the satin's doubled and there's seam allowances in there, so it is a little, it's a little firm, let me put it that way. So I have to kind of I basically have to push it off the back of the needle. The needle's sliding in here. I just said this was going to be easy, and look, it's not. Honestly. Come on. I don't know why that's giving me such a hard time. Let me stretch it out behind a little bit. I'm going to put a, I know the next thing that's going to happen is, I'm just going to put a pin here to keep it from popping through the hole if I stretch it down too close to the edge. But I think I need to stretch it out as I go, because it's, let's do it a little bit at a time here. Come on, you can do it. All right, so I'm going to work this part right here. I'm going to work this down. So I'm going to gather it onto the elastic itself. You know, and the thing is, once I get this on or in there, then we can decide how long or how much, you know, how long our lace is actually going to be will be determined by how it looks when it's gathered up. But you can see, we're getting about halfway. Cow. Oops. I really thought this was going to go quicker, this part. I think that's going to be pretty once I get it. Oh wait, what if I do it like this? Once I can get the tip of that to pop out the other side, then I can grab it. I'm getting there. I only have this much more to do. Hi, Alaya, welcome. I'm making a garter belt from a money bag, from a mother to a daughter here. And right now I'm fighting with getting the elastic through the casing. I feel like if I just get it that a little bit more, see if I can reach it, not quite. I'm surprised the elastic hasn't fallen out of the end of the bodkin. Now that I said that out loud, it probably will come undone. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm so close here. Oops. All right, we're almost there. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, here's the tip. Here's the tip. I wonder if I grab that, if I can pull it out that way. Oh, okay. Yay. Okay. All right. We have elastic. Okay. Now, oops, don't want to lose my bodkin. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to spread this out. Just get it all nice and spread out on this little piece of elastic here. Oops. All right, so I'm going to put this pin back over here because I don't want to lose my ends now. That would be traumatic if I lost my end back in there. I would start crying. All right, so now we've got, so now what I can do is just even this up here. Get it sort of straightened out, and then we'll decide if I have too much gathers. You see what I'm saying? Like, we want to decide how full we want this garter to be. Okay. So look how pretty that is. That's going to be really pretty. All right, so let's see here. We are going to, I'm going to try this on my leg. How about that? Okay, so my leg, where's my measuring thing? I'm just going to measure my leg here. Okay, so she needs 21 inches. So I'm measuring on my leg where I've got 21 inches, and then I'm going to wrap it around. Let's see if I can show you. So I'm wrapping it around my leg because I don't want it to be uncomfortable. so that's plenty big. So, all right. So that was kind of dumb because you couldn't see what I was doing, but basically I wrapped it around my leg and it's really loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to even it up here. Oh, I know. Let's see how big this is. Let me measure around here. Now this isn't the shape of a leg, but, oh, that's 27 that way. Let me see if I can make it. Let's see what this is. All right, that's only 17, that's 18 inches. All right, so that's not big enough. I was trying to find something I could wrap it around. But I mean, you can see if I do it like this. Like, see how pretty that's going to be? All right, so what I'm going to do is once I get it, all right, I'm just going to wrap it around my leg. Let me show you. Let me switch my view here. All right. Okay, so my leg down here is approximately 21 inches. So if I match these up, I would say I could probably take off, I would say, an inch on each end. I would say an inch on each end. All right. So now that I did that, now that I know, what I'm going to do is I am going to trim. Actually, before I do anything, I'm just going to mark it with some chalk, and I'm going to sew all the layers together because I can cut off an inch and it still fits pretty nicely. So I'm going to just sew the elastic to the all right, so let's see here. Let me switch my view back, sorry. All right, so I'm going to just sew it. And I can move me. You can't even see my head. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm going to just going to sew through the elastic here so it, oops, with a straight stitch, so I don't lose my elastic. And I'm going to do that on the other end as well. All right, so then what I can do is I can cut I'm going to cut just outside the about a maybe a half an inch or a quarter inch from where I sewed. I cut that off. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And then I'm going to sew the ends together. Okay. All right, so now we want to make, obviously, we want it to look lovely. All right, so see how it's looking? I think this is going to be pretty. So I think instead of, I'm not going to sew a traditional seam because I think that that would be really kind of bulky. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn one end under, and I'm going to top stitch it on like this, the ribbon part, and then I'm going to zigzag the other part. So the first step is just pin it. All right, let's see if I can sew through all those layers. My straight stitch here. All right, I sewed from the middle to the end. Now I'm going to sew from the middle to the other end. Okay. Okay, so you can see here I sewed the ends together like that, so they look nice and neat. Oh, Mary said she would have shortened the elastic only. Well, I don't know. I feel like it's full enough though. Like if it's too full, it's gonna be bulgy. I mean, I think that that's probably full enough. Right? I think that's full enough. Let me just try it on now that I've sewed it. Yeah, I think this is going to be good. Let me show you how it looks on my leg. Oops. All right, so I think that's going to be cute. And the lace from her mom's money bag is from here to here in the front, so I think that's good, I think. Okay. All right, so I did that. Now, just see here. Okay, so we've got, essentially it's done. I mean, I just need to sew the lace to the lace, and I'm just going to zigzag that on, and then I'm going to cut off the extra. So let me just show you how I'm going to do that. Right, this picture of me, put that over there so it's not in the way. Okay, so I'm just going to I'm going to just pin this so it matches right here. I'm going to pin it so it matches over here. just going to put one pin right here, and then I'm just going to sew it, and then I'm going to trim the extra away. So basically, I'm just going to I want to make sure the edges of the elastic match. Like this. So I'm just going to use my narrow zigzag. I'm going to put it on 2.5. And I'm just going to zigzag that on. I'm going to tie that off. And then I'm just going to zigzag this side too. The great thing about working with lace is, oops, I think I'm, uh-oh, it's sucked into my machine. So, of course, let me take this off for a second. A minute. I don't want to pull it because I don't want to tear the lace. So this would have been the great time to use the put some paper underneath method. Oh yeah, I can get that out. All right. Whew. Crisis averted. Okay. All right. All right, let me see. All right, I do have a little lump here now from where it got stuck in the machine, so I'm just gonna carefully pick it out. Okay. All right, let me put this back on and let me just sew. So finish sewing that. All right. Okay. All right. Come on, you can go back on. Here we go. Okay. All right, I'm going to start from the inside and go out so that doesn't happen again. My end. All right, I'm going to start this way and go out to the end. That way I won't have that problem. Oh. All right, ready? Okay. Oh my God, no, it didn't. All right. Whew. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is, the beauty of working with lace is I can trim carefully all of the extra lace away, and then it won't be noticeable. So I'm literally just going to cut this right off. So it's just got a very narrow, I'm going to cut all this extra. So it's just got that littlest seam allowance there, and it will not be noticeable. All right. All right, so I think I'm happy snappy with this. I'm just going to cut all my threads. cut the extra off of this side as well. Okay. All right, so here is the front of my garter. And then in the back, it's not as full. I mean, I think it's still full enough, but probably on the back of the leg that'll be more comfortable. So I think this is good. That's pretty. Hi Ingrid, welcome. Thank you, super cute. You had to take your mom for a haircut? I took my mom for a haircut yesterday. And actually, this garter is for my mom's hairdresser is the mom, and her daughter's getting married in the fall. So this is a hairdo related project, I guess. Okay, so I've trimmed all my threads. The last thing I have to deal with is adding this little detail on. And I think I'm going to put it, you know, somewhere like right here near the front to the side of the front. So remember, I have that double layer of lace for her, from her mom's money belt. So I think what I'll do is I'll just put it, you know, off to the side. You know, so maybe I'll put it, I don't know, maybe I'll put it like right there. Like this. And I think, I hate to say it out loud, but I think I'm going to have to hand sew that on. So this is going to go right here, and I'm literally just going to stitch it on with a hand needle in a little bit. I'm not going to torture you with this detail, but basically that's going to go right there. Look how pretty that is. I think that will work out quite lovely. Yeah, I think that's going to be nice. That will help the bride know where the front is. Yes, that's a good point, Mary. You know, it's to me it's obvious the front is where the double lace is, but you know, people, it's funny how people who don't sew don't pay attention to all of those details and they don't notice stuff. But I think I think that's good. So yay, this is a project that I literally have been thinking about, and I don't want to say worrying on, but I really just wanted to get it done. So I thought today would be the perfect day. So there you are. So anyway, so that's my little garter project. Pretty happy with it. And yeah. So there you are. All right, so I just want to thank everybody one more time for, well, hanging in and watching this tutorial with me. Also, thank you for, you know, for sewing along with me. Oh, Ingrid agrees with you, Mary. Ribbon indicates the front. Yes. So I think that'll be very cool. I'll send a picture to my friend Sue and see what she thinks. But I think she'll be happy. I'm happy. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and congratulations to Jacqueline. Oh, on a wedding day, the bride will have lots on her mind. Easy cues help. Yes, that's true. I remember when I got married, I stopped for a second and I took it all in, and then it was over. Like, that day flies by in such a fast way. But it's kind of cool. And I'm really glad to contribute to the celebration. All right, so I just want to show you one thing here before we go. Here is my shirt, and I have to say, I am super excited with how this came out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it reversible, and the way I'm going to make it reversible is I'm going to sew the buttons on and I'm going to sew through to each side, so the buttons will almost be like a cuff link going down. So that's how I'm going to finish this, so I can wear it either. This is the wrong side, which I'm coming to love more and more. So I'm going to sew the buttons on like cuff links, so they'll be sewn to each other, and then I'll have the buttonholes on the other side. But I really do like the way the wrong side of this came out, much more than I thought I was going to. So I want to thank everybody who encouraged me to try this pairing of fabric. I love the Hong Kong finish on the side seams and the cuff, you know, and because I did flat felled seams along the armhole and French seams everywhere else except here I did Hong Kong finish, it is truly reversible, so I'll be able to get two different looks out of this. So, oh, Mary was 19 when she got married. Oh, that's so romantic. 19. Wow. I think my grandma and grandpa got married when they were 19. They were really young, and we have an 8mm movie that we converted to DVD of them on their wedding day, and it's such a precious thing. So I love everything wedding, so super exciting. I may be doing some additional projects for Sue, some embroidery things, so if I do, I'll share those with you. But thank you for watching me make the garter belt, because literally I can't begin to tell you how long this has been on my list. Oh, Mary's 70 now. Oh, that's amazing. I'm very, very happy for you, Mary. It's so nice. I love it when I see people and know people who, you know, have been married for a long time, and, you know, maybe I have friends who were high school sweethearts and they're still married. I just love stuff like that. So, congratulations, Mary. I think that's amazing. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end this now. I want to thank everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and I will be having new fun things coming up starting next week. This will be finished. I'll post pictures of it in the group so you can see the way I'm going to do the buttons. Oh, Janie said she loved watching me sew it. Well, thank you. I mean, you have to remember, like, when I'm sewing, every time something doesn't go perfectly, or every time I make a mistake, or every time I can't find something, I just want you to know I really appreciate the fact that you put up with me. So thank you. Oh, Mary says I had to do a ring bearer pillow. Oh, that would have been a nice, let's see. I wonder if I have enough. I still have this much. Maybe I could make a little pillow. I don't know. I'll have to see. I'll save this and see if she has a ring bearer pillow. That's a good idea, Mary. Oh, Alaya, bye. Thank you for joining us. Oh, Christine was married at 19, and she's been married for 54 years. That's so romantic, Christine. Congratulations. Oh, bye, Francine. Thank you. All right, so people are leaving, so I'm going to leave too. Thank you for joining me, and like I said, I will have more fun next week. I'm going to be starting something new because this will be finished. And again, I just want to remind anybody, if anybody wants to take this class with me, it starts on the 19th. There are 2 Tuesday nights in a row. I'm going to be showing you simple construction or more designer construction. So you can either make a embellished version like this, or you can make a straightforward, professionally constructed shirt. So you'll have the choice. So there is a link to that class in the video below if anybody's interested. So that's the last thing I want to say. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much.